Let's talk about absolute value, and to start, why don't we assume that x represents some real number. Any real number that you can think of, we'll just represent that number with x. We are going to represent the absolute value of x by putting that x in these vertical bars. And two things about this. Here's how we read this. We read this as the absolute value of x, and here's what it means. It means the distance between the number x and 0 on the number line. So when you see this, it's good to think of this as representing this sentence here. So when I see this, I'm thinking that there's some number x, and this represents how far that number is from 0 on the number line. Let's look at a few examples. Let's take a look at this one here. How do we read this? The absolute value of 8. And what it means? This means the distance between that number, 8, and 0 on the number line. You know, we can get a picture of that. Let's draw ourselves a number line, and we'll label it x because that's our variable. And let's locate 0 since that's our base. And now we'll locate the number 8. It's to the right of 0. It's here. So this distance right here, we can represent that with that notation, the absolute value of 8. Now this is a pretty easy one to see. You can see that the absolute value of 8 is 8 because the distance between 8 and 0 on the number line is 8 units. Let's look at another one. What about this one here? How do you read this? We read this as the absolute value of the number -12. And what does it mean? This means the distance between this number here, -12, and 0 on the number line. Now we can get a picture of this. If we draw ourselves a number line, we'll label it x, and we'll mark a 0 as our base. And now let's locate the number -12. So -12 is to the left of 0, out here someplace. So that would be -12. And we will represent this distance here with that notation. And we can say now that the absolute value of -12, that is what? The distance between -12 and 0, right here on the number line, equals, so what is it? Well, there's 12 units here, right? So the absolute value of -12 is 12. And if you just read this, it says the distance between the number -12 and 0 on the number line is 12 units. Let's look at another one here. What about this one here? Now we've got a statement here, right? What are we saying? That this is equal to this. How do we read this? Well, let's go through this. How do we read this? What about this side right over here? Right, we got two sides here. Let's look at the left side. What does this side mean? This side, as soon as I see absolute value, I'm thinking the distance between the number, now whatever number I see inside here, and right now we're seeing a number represented by 3x plus 6. So I'm going to say the distance between the number 3x plus 6 and 0 on the number line. All right, that's the left side. So this side right here, I see absolute value, so right away I think distance. And I'm thinking, or it's kind of a template to fill in here. It says the distance between the number, whatever we see inside here, and 0 on the number line. It always goes like this. The distance between the number, whatever you put in there, just write it here, and 0 on the number line, that's the left side. And then keep going. What have you got here? Is, and then over here, 18, or we could write 18 units, is 18 units. So we can just translate this symbolic statement to an English statement by saying, by just reading it directly on the left side. As soon as you see absolute value, you think distance, and maybe even think this kind of a template here, and just fill in the field. How do you read this? The distance between the number 3x plus 6 and 0 on the number line is 18 units. Now let's get a feel for what this thing looks like here. Let's draw a number line. I'll label it X, and we'll locate a 0 since that's our base. And then I'm going to drop this number down, that 3x plus 6. I'm going to drop it down right there. So I'm going to put that 3x plus 6, and where is it? Well, we moved out here 18 units. So right now, what this tells me here is that 3x plus 6, that's the same as the 18. Now, we could have done this. We could have started 0, moved to the left. Now, if you move to the left, that would take us, move to the left 18 units. That would put us over here at negative 18. And then if you drop that 3x plus 6 down there, the 3x plus 6 is going to be the same place as a negative 18. So we're going to write then that 3x plus 6 is negative 18. That will give us the value of x. So let's start by solving this equation here on the left. So the first thing we're going to do is, we know what to do here. We've done a lot of these, right? We're going to subtract that 6. So this will give us 3x equals, and then negative 18 minus 6 is negative 24. And we're going to divide by 3. So that'll give us x equals negative 24 divided by 3 is negative 8. And then over here on the right, let's solve this. And what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 6, just as we did before. So we'll subtract that 6. This will give us 3x equals, but now 18 minus 6 is 12. And then again, we'll divide by 3, and that'll give us that x is equal to 4. So should we be asked to solve this equation, here's what we do. We're going to read it and just write what we read. Write the distance between the number, what you see inside, 3x plus 6, and 0 on the number line is 18 units. We'll draw the number line, locate our 3x plus 6 to the right and to the left, and then we'll solve those two equations. And doing so here, we're going to get that x could be negative 8 or positive 4. Oh yeah, all right, here's my cat reminding me that we have to check these values to make sure we've got them, that we solved the equations correctly. So let's do that. I'll check one of them, you can check the other. So I'll check the negative 8, so I'll do it this way. I will say if x equals negative 8, then, all right, let's go put that negative 8 back up into the original equation. We will get this, the absolute value of 3 times negative 8 plus 6 equals 18. Let's see if that gives us a true or false statement. This will be negative 24 plus 6. That absolute value equals 18. Absolute value, all right, this is negative 24 plus 6 is negative 18 equals 18. And what do you get here on the left side? On the left side, that's an absolute value of 18, of negative 18. How far is negative 18 from 0? How many units is negative 18 from 0? It is 18 units from 0 equals 18, and we've got a true statement. So negative 8 is one of the solutions. You can check the 4. Just put the 4 right in here and compute and see if you get a true or false statement.